Tired of your car insurance rate going up, even with a clean driving record? You're not alone. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
Emotionally unavailable.
Just kind of, yeah, exactly. Okay, so I've actually recently changed my format. Sorry, I'm recovering from some plague that was probably corona, but whatever. Um, so like I get short of breath kind of fast. But I don't really I'm actually okay, so I'm excited I'm having you both on today, but I do think what I'm gonna do because I'm getting more selective over who I have on the show, and I'm getting a little tired of "Yeah, I'll go deep with you," and then they just wanna fucking sell me their stuff, so I'm like, "Okay, we're not doing that anymore." So, I mean, I'm still accepting people, but I'm gonna be a lot less likely to air them if they get on my nerves. But, shit, I'm just in my bitchiness this morning. Y'all on my
Sorry.
nerves. But the reason I'm
I know
telling you
we
this is because I wanna have you each back on individually, and then I'm gonna start just having more, like, recurring guests, like, people who I don't give a shit how many times people come on, because I know the conversation will be what it needs to be for the day, for the theme of whatever's happening in everyone's lives, and, that's what makes
some
me
of your
happy,
trust.
and that's what I'm gonna do, is what makes me
Yeah.
happy. So
We
I want you
we
guys to each sign up again, to come back on because it'll be cool. But for today, I kinda thought since I really don't know, I mean, because you really did such a sweet job of just letting me talk my ass off when I was on your show. Um, I know a little bit about kind of your backstory, and I don't even know how well this will mesh with all 3 of us vibing so hard, but we're gonna just go with I mean, it's just a friendly conversation in essence because 'cause we've all had enough shit that, you know?
Yeah, absolutely,
Um
and Giselle and I are not afraid. We're not afraid to go deep. We
yeah.
really aren't.
Yeah.
That's where it's really at. That's what we want. We want those deep conversations. We want to though that deep insight, that deep healing. That's where I'm at in my life. That's where she's at in her life. Where we've really worked really hard on a relationship, and I mean, there's still things that I still trigger her on and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Um, like yesterday, she came over and I looked at her. I'm just going to call you out, Giselle. I looked at her and I'm calling myself out, but she came over. She had a really, really hard day. She's
Mhm.
been postpartum. Postpartum is a bitch, man.
Yes,
It's
Like
a
it
bit.
it is. And
It
then
is.
healing. She just hit her she in December, the end of December, right after she had her baby, she had her hit her for 1 year. So at that 1 year mark, whether it's a substance addiction or non-substance addiction, addiction is an addiction. And it absolutely has its really hard points. I know it was for me at 1 year, right around the 1 year mark. And I know a lot of other people went through it really hard. So she's got a lot, a lot. And so
That's
she came to
interesting. I've
me.
never heard that. Well, I guess I have. I grew up in the meetings from having, addict parents, but my mom, she would take me to meetings with her. So I guess, like, I've heard that, but do you think that the 1-year mark is hard because of the same reason things get hard, like, when you're grieving after that first year? Like, people always think, "Oh, getting through the first year is whatever," and I guess there's some truth to that, but really that second year is the fucking worst because the fog is gone, all the things. Do you think that that is part of why recovery hits a weird transition after a year? Because it's like, "Oh, fuck, now what? Every day for the rest of my life?"
Oh yeah, I think it's so I'm almost April 6th will be my 2 year. Will be my 2 year.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. It's coming up so fast. Once I hit for me personally, once I hit past that a little over that year, things started to clear up. But now that I'm going into the second year, things have cleared up so much for me that I'm seeing things so differently. And now is the time where I'm done with all the surface shit. Like
Mhm.
the first year and stuff, there's a lot of that surface shit that you really got to get through.
Yeah.
And the triggers, for me, big time triggers, teaching my body to get out of the survival mode. I'm still working on that. Like I still wake up every morning in shivers and sweats, the cold
Oh
sweats,
gosh. Yeah.
stomach wrenching. I still go through all of that, but there's purpose behind it. And I know that there is. I am a firm believer that God puts us through things or the universe puts us through things, not for us, but for others.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel
I
that. Well, so okay, what before your recovery, what was y'all's relationship like? I mean, because it seems like you
I
really
was a raging bitch.
rebuilt. Well, you told me that, and I laughed so hard one day, actually, let me tell you this. I was like, "Oh my god, that's so me." One day, I think it was Jeselle that posted the meme about, like, some bitch ass mom type of thing, and then you were like, "Shit, was I that bad?" And I was like
Yes.
and I was like, "Oh my god, I love this. I love it because this is real. That's
Yeah.
real." Like, because I
Yeah.
am always my 23-year-old always is like, "Damn." Whenever I'm like, "Well, that's because you had a mom who, blah, 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 blah," like, just, like, listing all the shitty stuff I did. He's like, "I mean, true, but that's weird that you're just saying that." And I'm like, "No, I can see very clearly all the things I've done to fuck you up. Trust, I see it." Mhm.
Yeah. The first year was for me was for forgiving myself. Go ahead, Giselle. I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh, no, you're fine. I just wanted to say that it is really weird, and I'm still like, it's been 2 years, and I have a hard time going, "She's gonna act this way, she's gonna react this way." If I come up to her about it, this is where it's going to be, we're gonna have a big old fight about it, like, this is where it's gonna happen, and then she reacts a whole different way, and it's like, I pumped myself up to stand up to you,
Yes.
like,
Yes. Yes. Yep,
like,
and I love
I had it all figured out.
you knew, yeah, I can so relate to that as a daughter too, because I think
Yes.
this is what, like, amazes me about I'm so profoundly grateful that you guys both got to this place in your lives that you're now reaping the benefits of a mother-daughter relationship, and I feel like I got there a little bit with my mom before she died, but I was 22 and she was immature, so, like, it was not like, everything it could have been or whatever, but, it's so cool because you guys are getting past that point, and I can remember as a daughter being so afraid to say, like, "That kinda hurt my feelings that you did that." Like, because listen, with my mom, it was iffy what she was gonna do with my grandma, she made it clear, "You do not fucking tell me I hurt your feelings, I don't give a fuck, and you're done for saying it." Like, it was so bad, and that has
Well,
impacted the way, like I mean, I have this narrative that I'm too sensitive still, like,
that's
I have
just
to
Sel
adjust,
and me
like
both. It
yes,
Yeah.
and I
literally
mean,
was
there's
passed
a
down
reason that you
from
parented
my
the way you
great
did.
grandmother. It was
Yes.
passed down from my great grandmother to my grandmother to my mother to me, and then I passed it on to Giselle, and Giselle and I are hell bent on not passing it on any further.
Yes.
And that's the thing is, Giselle and I are working our asses off to break this generational curse and this brainwashing that we have had that we're not enough because we
Yes.
are enough. We are
Yes.
more than enough.
More than
Like,
enough.
and I was telling Giselle, like I was saying earlier, so Giselle came over last night and she's talking to me and she's telling me everything, going and just laying it all out for me, which by the way, people, I love. I love it when my daughter comes to me and just goes, I need my mom,
Yeah.
because, and I love the fact now I can be that mom. Now that I've taken the time to heal myself,
Yeah.
now that I've taken the time to look deeper, and I still get triggered and I'm not
Sure.
perfect, you know, but I absolutely, the calm inside of me compared to before I quit using, because I shamed myself into I hated me.
Yes.
The
Mhm.
Yes.
shame that I put on myself, but this was shame that was put onto me. And it wasn't my voice. This wasn't my voice that told me that I was
Right.
horrible because I did drugs. I did drugs because I needed to survive all the projection that was happening to me and
Absolutely.
all of the horrible
Absolutely.
shit. I did it to survive. It was survival for me. Giselle had her addiction for survival.
Yeah.
It is, and that's where, but she talked to me and I looked at her and all I heard was, and all I seen was me when she was a teenager. And I just looked at her and I said, honey, I said, I don't want to tell you how you're feeling, but I want you to stop for 1 second and just listen to me. Just listen to me out. I said, what I'm hearing is a lot of BS that I said when you were growing up and a lot of things that I projected onto you because I was unhealed. And I was going through it as being projected onto me, so I projected it onto you. Can you stop for a second and think maybe that isn't your voice and it's the voice of your unhealed mom, And I think
Wow. Did that just stop you in your fucking tracks, Giselle? Like, what was that experience like for you?
So first it was kind of like, fuck you. Because
because I'm
well, I
right.
mean, and she is. And, but like at first, because you're like, I am in my sorrows and I am going through my emotions. And, so like, I'm sitting there telling her in my mind, it was a wake up call, but it's how do I get that to stop? And that's
Yeah.
where it was because I'm 28 years old and that's been embedded in my head for 28 years. And so that's
Yeah.
28 years of trying to get
27.
that to stop.
That's like 27.
I totally understand that. I don't know if you've heard me talk about this, but I had a guest on my show very early on that changed my entire life to help deal with those types of things, and she referred me to the Finding Peace workbook. It's like 25 bucks on Amazon, and it was like this last piece of information that I really needed to put things into place to really begin to heal all of that shame, because he breaks shame down into different archetypes. So whenever I'm like really blaming everyone external of me, that's an archetype that's called the royal, and she's sitting on her fucking high horse, putting all the responsibility on everyone else. And then there's that one that's just like your judge and is judging the shit out of you like you know better than that. And that's what sucks about healing is that once you get the right information, you're like, I'm supposed to fucking do this right. And then, but after you get those narratives under control and you know how to deal with them, you know what they're trying to protect you from, you can get that out of your head and then you go to the truth, which is like, oh shit, there's never going to be a day. I'm not sometimes going to be triggered. I'm sometimes going to be a bitch. I'm sometimes going to not know how the fuck to talk to a person. I'm still going to fly off the handle sometimes. Like I'm never going to be that person I thought I was working so hard to become, which is perfect.
Perfect.
And so perfectionism is so sneaky, especially if you were a child who worked so hard to gain love and belonging and approval through like action, like, oh, I'll be good at this, I'll get good grades, I'll be good at the sports, whatever it is that we try to achieve in childhood, that doesn't go away magically on its own. It goes away when we start to look at ourselves and we go, oh, okay, I'm worthy no matter what. And I think that's the biggest gift I've given myself, is that unconditional love and positive regard, because I mean, I actually am so okay with it 90% of the time. I'm uncomfortable sharing how okay with it I am, because I don't want anyone else to hear that as a lack of accountability and think that I'm just flippant about my mistakes, because I'm not. But it does me no fucking good to sit and dwell in shame and pain over anything that I still do. I still lose my shit on my kids. I still don't do it all right. Like I do shit wrong on a daily basis. Ask my husband, I'm a giant fucking bitch to him all the time. It's something I work on constantly. But I'm like, well, I don't force his ass to stay married to me. So, like I'm
Right?
trying. I'm
Exactly.
trying. I'm not responsible for
Exactly.
him. So,
And
like,
that's the
if you don't
number
like
one
him,
thing is that you're not forcing him. You're not forcing
exactly.
him to stay. And then
Yeah.
that's the realization, that I really had to come to, because I had a lot of, uh, a lot of scars and a lot of, rejection because I've always been heavy. And
Mhm.
there was a lot of things there. So that really bled into my relationship. And finally, one day, because here I was thinking my husband didn't want me, going through all those things.
Oh, yeah.
And then one day I realized, I was like, the man's been married to me. He married me and he's been married to me. Why would he be around if he wasn't interested? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
like, come on, Sela, wake the fuck up. you know?
Yeah, no, that's a weird thing too, like, because my body has pretty wild fluctuations in weight,
Mhm.
like, I'm I'm at a high right now, let's be real, but when I was really making peace with all of that, what I realized was, oh, because I would carry this like, "Oh, he doesn't wanna do it," or whatever, because I wouldn't want to initiate because I'm afraid of
I was
rejection,
afraid.
but
Yep.
instead of, like, acknowledging that for what it was, I'd be like, "This motherfucker don't wanna have sex. Well, fuck him." Well, did you at all imply that you wanted to do that? No, you fucking didn't. So and also,
Exactly.
you were really
She just
fucking
called
mean
my
to him
ass out.
earlier, so that's
Yeah,
how that goes,
right.
sis. But that's the shit I've been unraveling through grief is, like, all of the ways that I have pushed everyone away in efforts to protect myself. I mean, I see it's been a really weird story arc between my dad dying 30 years ago and now my son dying, and both of them dying of an overdose, and how this was my first loss and this is my biggest loss, and it's wild to see the connection points and how I handled it then versus the choices I'm making now, and that really was the beginning of me just telling myself I have no one and nobody cares about me, but really me just pushing them away as much as I possibly could, to me now just like pulling people in like, "No, I need people, don't play, I need you." And I think
Right.
even it's tricky even to identify what it is I do need from people, and so I've kind of been working through that too, and I'm like, "I really kinda just need you to be my friend, like the same kind of friend you were before, where we go have coffee or we go on a walk or whatever, like, I don't need all my friends to all of a sudden become therapists," and I think people think that, and I'm like, "I don't honey, I wouldn't go to you for therapy, I promise," and so it's like, I don't need that, you know what I mean?
She's like, if
I
you were
just
a
I just
choice, I wouldn't go.
yeah, I mean, I love you, but that's not what I would choose for a therapist, you know? Um, so but I think it's when we get curious about, like, why the fuck am I believing that? Because I knew that our brains worked that way in confirmation bias anyway, but I had to, like, work backwards from the theory, like, "Huh, I know that's a thing that happens, so am I doing that?" And it's like, well, instead of just believing this super fucking negative belief around everyone around you, couldn't possibly be me, why don't we see if maybe we're just lying to ourselves again? So that's been really big for me is just, like, noticing where I'm really afraid to be vulnerable still. And that's
Yeah.
what it made me think about, Giselle, with you saying, like, you're working through the whole scenario of how this, we'll call it a confrontation, whatever is gonna go, and then you receive something totally different than that, and you're like, "Well, okay, well, now I kind of feel betrayed by that experience because I had expectations around it, and even though it went really well, like, something's weird here because it wasn't what I was expecting, and that's kinda life, you know? Like, that's kinda nonstop working through that stuff is just like, "Why didn't that go the way I thought it would? Oh, weird."
So I think it was like it had to be within the last 2 years. Her and I got into it over the phone. I pretty much she got really, really angry with me and I said, I'm not dealing with this shit and hung up on her. And I have always been, I'm not gonna hang up on my mom. That's my mom. But I very much just started hitting a point where I'm like, I'm not doing it. This is bullshit. And click. And she would call me back. And I'm like, oh, she's calling? Nope. And then, at this point, she decided I'm gonna show up at her fucking house.
You're not listening to me.
I got
She ain't
words to say.
I got words to say. That's exactly what it was.
And so I sat there and as I kept ignoring her call back, I was typing out in my notes what I had to say because I was going to text it to her. I didn't give a shit. I was gonna get what I needed to say out. She wasn't going to let me not say what I needed to say. And that's where a lot of our problems came was I didn't have a voice. I wasn't allowed to. It's she gets the last word. And
Yes, I get that.
I And I very much was like, you know, I'm getting my
I'm
word
getting
in.
the last
Whether
word,
this
yeah.
is whether this is gonna destroy our relationship or not, I don't care. I'm getting it in because this is not okay. And so I went off. And so when she showed up at the house, I was prepared. I was like, prepared to tell her, nope, you need to leave. Like I thought it was gonna turn really, really toxic because that's how we would be, was we would get into it and we're both very stubborn, hard-headed women. We're bulls. And so I opened the door and I was prepared to just sit there and tell her, nope, you need to go. And tell, my stepdad, nope, you need to take her home. I'm not doing this. And she came in and she's like, first, give me a hug. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm not. What are you gonna do to me?
Right?
Because we've had some toxic situations, and no, we gave a hug and we both started crying, and then and then we just worked it out after that. We talked. We actually just talked, and that was the start of us not having altercations and just communicating. So, I
Yeah,
mean, we don't have any altercations. I mean, since that point. In all honesty, we sit there. I think we had
that's
one other
awesome.
altercation, and that was I she left, and I finally took a couple days to myself, thought it through, and then went and talking to her, and we talked it out. She apologized, and her apologizing for the things that happened because she realized those are my realities. That's my trauma that's happening to me. It's not her trauma, it's my trauma. And that right there has helped me heal in all the areas that I need to heal. And I have so many things buried, and I realized this in the last couple of days. I have so many things just buried, so many traumas that just keep coming up, and it's like, okay, it's time for you to deal with this one. And I'm going, is this because I'm a mom now and I need to just deal with it now and not while my kid is at this age where, I have to teach rights from wrongs? And so it's been quite the wake up call for me. And, for my healing in its own, because I have always been kind of one that kind of deals with it in the moment, or I'll deal with it within a couple of days, but I didn't realize how much I put on the back burner until
Yeah.
recently.
Well, I mean, when you're accustomed to just going one foot in front of the other, one foot in front of the other, shove it down, it's not a natural response to then be like, "Oh, I have emotions, I must deal with them." Even and I'm like 2 years into this, all the time I'm like, "Well, I got really fucking agitated today," which usually is a sign, unless I just need a nap or a snack, that I'm not dealing with something. And so I have to look at physical cues like tension and agitation to go, oh, there may be a feeling that I haven't addressed because it's still not. You don't realize that in those moments where something pops in your head and you have a couple of choices, that if you make the choice to just be like, oh, I'll think about that later, instead of going, what the fuck was that? Oh, and dealing with it then, that's you shoving it down over
Mhm.
and over and over. And now I have a brain that loves to overthink, loves to
Right?
intellectualize all of my experiences and analyze them to death. So I've really had to learn how to feel and not think, but it's still not just inherent that I know how to do that. I have a process that I have to go through every single time. So I'm like, if I'm noticing all this agitation, then I'm like, all right. I literally just start noticing sensations in my body because I'm like, well, how else do you feel? I don't really know. And usually kind of it'll do it on its own. if I'm just paying attention to what I'm literally feeling in my body, tension, tingles, anything like that, it'll kinda tell me there's emotion here, and it'll kinda if I need to cry, it'll come up on its own, and I just let it do it naturally. Very present, though, like, out of my brain, but that's where when I say healing is hard, honestly, that's the hard part for me because it takes so much energy to be like, "Fuck, I'm overthinking again. I'm doing it again. I'm in my head,
Recognize the
overthinking."
overthinking, to recognize
Yeah.
the old the to stop the old pattern and put in and keep in place the new things, because we've
Yes.
literally been brainwashed,
Yeah.
literally,
Yeah.
into these modes, and we've been brainwashed and hurt into accepting people hurting us and projecting. And I still, so like the other day, um, I had a talk with my therapist about it, because I was like, "Why did I do this? Like, why do I do this?" And, so the other day, my husband went to go make him some sandwiches, and because I get triggered very easily, I I am so sensitive that my body will pick up and my brain will react.
Mhm.
And he was
Mhm.
so calm, didn't show any, like, was doing everything perfect to keep me from triggering, that I like, to be married to somebody with the amount of lack of emotion that I would need to not be triggered would be scary. I don't wanna
Yeah.
be married to somebody that would be borderline sociopath type of
Right,
what I would,
right.
what I would need to not trigger me. But, like, I just took on the blame because there wasn't enough ham to make 2 sandwiches, and he was sitting there just trying to just process it out, 'cause his brain was still foggy from waking up and all that stuff. And I immediately just went, "Oh, it's all my fault. Oh my gosh, I'm a horrible person because there isn't enough ham." Nothing to do with the situation. I didn't touch the ham. I haven't touched the ham. You know what I mean? But because I immediately go, "It's my fault." And I went into this, "Oh gosh, it's my fault. I'm shameful." And then ran into my office and closed the door and hid,
And guess
and that
what?
was,
Go ahead.
What'd you
go
say?
ahead.
I was gonna say, and guess what's been passed on?
And it's been exactly. It has been passed. I passed it down so well to not just her, but to multiple of my children.
Yeah.
I have 2 girls.
Man, and people what a great example because people don't realize that when you're, like, in this state of hyperarousal and survival all the time, that it is that easy to be triggered, and here's what I would point out too, because see, I would have that exact same scenario, but I wouldn't have been able to identify, "Oh, this is shame," and, you know where I would have gone? Mad, and that royal would have
Normally, I
come out, and
do.
I'd have been like, "If you'd ever fucking
Defensive.
do this," and we'd have World War III in the kitchen at fucking 7 a.m. because
Mhm.
my shame was triggered, and I didn't like the way it felt, so I'm gonna go ahead and start a fight, and we could fight about that.
Absolutely, that would be me to the T for pretty much all of Giselle's life. That would be me to the T pretty much all of Giselle's life. For, I would go into defend.
Mhm.
Okay. You automatic. It ain't my fault. Da 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 da.
Well, if you hadn't
And
done such and such, we'd have the
if you
goddamn
would have
ham,
paid
so I don't know
attention,
what to
or
tell
I don't
you.
know what the big and it's just like you're just making a big deal of over something stupid, and he's just trying to process, not
Yes.
because, like, there was frozen ham, and he's just trying to process and not be frustrated. And
You're
he was so
describing my
calm about it,
relationship
Melissa.
perfectly.
Like, been working so hard, and he was so calm about it, and I still took it on, ran, and was like, It's all my fault that there wasn't enough ham for 2 sandwiches. How horrible am I?" You
Well,
know?
my situation is anytime he exhales, he just has to huff and puff, and that's just him breathing. We're
Yes.
living together for 11 years, okay? This is
Yes.
just him huffing and puffing, and because of my postpartum, he has the baby when he does it, and I immediately go, "I need to take my baby. He's overwhelmed, he can't handle it. It's okay. I'm mom, I need to take the baby." And that's immediately what's running through my head. And I'm asking, "Are you okay? Do you need me to get you anything?" Like, instead of
Yeah.
taking the time for myself that I can take opportunity for, I'm worried and freaking out that he's stressed out or he's overwhelmed,
Yes.
all because he just exhaled. And,
Yeah.
it is
A little
it
bit
is a
harder
sick
than
thought.
normal.
Yes.
Yeah, I do that too, and he's like, "I was fucking breathing." And I was like, "Oh, well."
That's
And
what I
then
get.
it seemed like more than that to me, so
Breathing awfully hard over there.
Well,
well, and then you know what? My daughter will do that to me 'cause, I've always been like a breath holder. I'll notice I mean, the
Me
problem
too.
is I also will exhale for a very long time so that I won't lose my shit, like, so that's a noise that everyone in the house is familiar with hearing, but also, I will fucking forget to breathe all the time, like, I'm an air sign, we just do weird shit, so I'll, like, take a deep breath, and she'll be like, "What's wrong?" And I'm like, "Oh, nothing, I just forgot to breathe, like, I'm just like, I needed a deeper breath because I haven't breathed in, like, a minute." So, she's
Well,
like
I forgot to freaking breathe. I was so lost in something else. I don't know what, but just
all the
like,
time, all the
yeah,
time,
I
I'm
got
like, "Oh,
you.
breathing is not second nature to me." And I think that's also a trauma response. I think I'm so used to holding my breath, like, so yeah, and so I'm so glad she's young enough to really, like, repair a lot of this shit because, well, A, it's nice to know that she's gonna enter into adolescence and adulthood with a little better of a foundation than the first 2 did, but, like,
Yes.
also it's very healing for me too to watch the healing happen in real time. Because used to, she would only act up for her dad because she knew if she acted up for me, I was gonna lose my shit and it wasn't gonna be worth it, and now she's so bad to me, like, not all the time, but, like, there are times that I'm like, "Jesus, I liked it better when you were scared of me." I mean, I don't say that out loud, but, um, it's true. Sometimes I am
I
like, "I
hear
wish he
you.
was
I
a
have a
little
13-year-old.
scared."
I have a 13-year-old, and I do the same things. Like, there was a day. There was a
I
day.
I even go back. Mom needs to go back to being the mean mom. I
That's how
was
my
like,
oldest
"I
is.
don't tell this. What's the mom that he gets? Like, are you serious?"
Exactly, my
I'm like,
oldest does that. My 23-year-old does that with the 11-year-old, like, "If I had done that," and I'm like, "I fucking know what I woulda done
I
if you did."
know.
"I know, you ain't got to tell me, I
But I also
know."
didn't handle shit correctly. Do you not
Right, I'm like,
realize that?
"And then look at the conversations we're having because I was such an
uh-huh.
asshole to you. So, yeah, I'm gonna be nicer to her."
Mhm.
Also, but I also think it comes into where it's like we weren't as bad. Like, I'm sorry, the way he's acting, I no, I was too scared of my mom to be acting the way he
Right,
is,
right,
and
right.
so it's like
He was too. Uh-huh.
it's like the way they're acting, we wouldn't have acted like that in the first place because we were too scared to act like that, and
Right.
That's why
so
that's why we sit here and go, I liked it when you were scared of me a little bit better because then you wouldn't be throwing sugar on the bus.
Thank you. There are
Yeah.
so many times that I'm literally like, "Okay,
I really think it's
is
just that
there a little
we don't act as
mean?"
bad.
I mean, now here's what I'm I can't believe I'm saying this, but this is what I say sometimes. Sometimes I'm like, "I am trying so hard to not be verbally abusive to you right now, and you're getting me to that fucking point. Like, I'm just gonna let you know I'm about to lose my whole shit on you, and I'm trying so fucking hard not to." And the one time I said that, she was like, "I'm sorry, mommy." Like, what, like, let's calm
I
down.
have to do the same thing. I have to say the same thing is, look, right now, I'm really trying not to traumatize you, and I
Yeah.
would really appreciate some help on not doing that.
Go to another fucking room, please. Yeah, and here's what's funny to me though. I have never, like, physically harmed my children. Like, I'm not saying that from a place of judgment to anyone else, but I'm saying I
Mhm.
haven't. But yet, I know my oldest narrative is if I had done that, you'd beat my ass. Even though I never would have, I wanted him to think I would. I sure
Yeah.
did. And so I'm always like, I wouldn't have, but I can see why you thought I would. But like, I'm not gonna beat hers either. So shut the fuck up and just let me parent. Get the fuck out. Like, what?
I
Always got something to
transitioned
say to
from
me.
a parent that did do that to a parent that doesn't. And so, like, that's the transition from the parents that I did. Like, from when Jeselle was growing up, she screw up in school or something like that, I'd beat the living crap out of her. I'd whip
Yeah.
her ass. I would whip her ass, and not in the and not in the right ways, you know. Like, I would lose my fucking shit on her. I would straight up
Yeah.
lose my shit on her, and now I'm the type of parent that doesn't do that. Like, doing that transition where it's like, no, like, don't get me wrong, I want to. Like,
Girl,
I think
you and
it
me
made
both,
me
babe. I wanna
nervous
beat
as
their
is.
ass. Yes. Yes.
Especially when I'm getting phone calls from the bus driver, because it's pulling over on the side of the road because my son refuses to sit in a seat and he's laughing at the bus driver in her face. Like, are you serious? Like, you're really representing
Yeah.
like that? But that's a
Well, and
narcissist
that's what I've
tactic.
noticed is the worst part of parenting for me. That's the biggest trigger, and I think, Giselle, this is probably what you're starting to experience, is if something with my child triggers my fear or my shame, that's it. All bets are off. That's when I'm gonna get in the red and I'm gonna be a hothead and whatever. And I have to like unpack all of the like bullshit in a very short amount of time, which is why I'm real famous for I'm gonna go ahead on and go in another room while I figure this out because I don't want to say all the shit that is in my head right now because none of it's nice or caring or loving. I really want to say some mean ass shit to you right now. And I'll just go and I'm like, well, first let's address what I'm feeling. What the fuck? What is all that? And I'm like, oh, that triggered my fear. I'm afraid you're going to turn out to be Jeffrey Dahmer. And my shame is that, God, I was such a bad mom that this is where we are. And I'm like, okay. Or this is a little human having a human ass experience, not any different than mine. And their behavior is not a direct extension or reflection of me. It is them. And I am here to help support and guide. So I get my shit together and then I'm like, okay, and I had to learn because I was really lectured. Like my grandma was like a lecturer. She loved to just sit you down and do that narcissist thing where they just blah, 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 for hours. And I probably did a little of that when the oldest was younger, and then I just, like, realized what I was doing. I was like, "Oh, I don't wanna be that." So I always tried to, like, drill it down to, like, a couple of sentences of what I'm trying to get across, like, "That's not okay," or "I'm really worried about you," or whatever it is, instead of all of the stream of consciousness thought, and I understood what it was because even though I didn't do it to my kids, I did it to my husband really bad, where I would just sit him down and I'm like, and then another way you're a piece of shit is this. And then in another way, and then here's all the ways in which you fail me every minute of every day. And then I would look at him with the audacity to say, oh, you have nothing to say? Nothing? Nothing? Just nothing to say? This motherfucker's scared. Like, I'm over here being a giant bitch. Of course he ain't gonna say shit to me. Like, he's checked out. He's real good at going to dissociation land. So he's like,
Mhm.
he been protecting himself from my words for a whole hour. So no, he has nothing to say. But that's kind of what we do is if we're not like in control, talking will just make the trigger all worse. And so I really have to go to myself and just get my shit together and then be like, okay, what am I afraid of? What am I ashamed of? None of that shit matters because this isn't about me. This is about them. How can I be there for them?
It's actually a really good point because I caught myself doing the same thing with my husband. Is I had the tendency of getting angry about something and then not and be like, "Okay, we need to talk about it." But it's more like, "I'm talking about it and you're not," and then it's like, "Well, are you gonna say something? No? Okay, well," and then it's like and he goes, "Well, you're not letting me talk," or it's my voice doesn't matter. My opinion doesn't matter. Well, your opinion does matter. We gotta make this work. And no, I caught myself doing the same thing, and then now I am like, communicate with me, like, we need to talk. Because if you keep this boiling up, you're gonna end up having animosity towards me, and I'm supposed to be your wife. That is
Yes, and but like when you're triggered and they start to talk,
mhm.
shut
Shut it
the
down.
fuck up. Shut the
Yeah.
fuck up. You what
Uh-huh.
oh, you're upset. You're upset. Okay,
That's
oh
where I
great.
go. That's exactly what I do is, "Oh,
Every
you
time.
think you
Every
have
time.
the right to be
Oh, you're
upset?"
oh, I hurt your feelings.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm not the giant piece of shit around here, so that's weird. I mean, that is the type of shit I have literally done in my marriage because I mean, I'm just a
Same.
very wounded child in those scenarios. But where we go right, when it goes really right is whenever I'm like, "Hey, what were you thinking when you did that? Like what did you think it was gonna end up? What was your expectations of that experience?" Because I remember one time, this was not that long ago, but I got really it wasn't a ham sandwich, but it was just as funny. It was like he made a plan for something. He was gonna go do some work thing, and for whatever reason, I felt in a state of neglect around this. And so I was like, you know, at some point, you're going to have to choose me. It can't always be me. You're so willing to disappoint or some shit like that, right? He is looking so confused, which made me feel confused because I was like, it's not the first fight around this subject. So, like, I'm confused why you're confused, but okay. So I was like, Melissa, what if you tried something different this time and just asked what he was thinking when this was the decision? Like, what did you think when you were doing that? Because this is from my perspective what it seemed like you were doing. And he was like, not at all. That is not at all what I was thinking. And when we're talking about
Mhm.
men, it's always way more simple than we thought. It's always some little thing. And I'm like,
Isn't it crazy how we can think, especially when we're coming from a trauma child? Like, I had a conversation with just my therapist yesterday. Um, and, there's been recent issues in my marriage. Like, we actually start counseling tonight. But like, she asked me, she goes, "Do you really think that he's out to get you, Sela?" Like she asked me and she goes, "What I'm hearing is that it sounds like that you're just she goes, "You need to feel safe." Like, I literally have on my mirror in my bathroom, like, one of our guests, he called me out. He called me out so hard, and we haven't released the episode yet, but, he called me out and with a head injury. He had a head injury, and with head injuries and PTSD, you're talking about a whole new demon. Like, this is a demon that you're dealing with. Like, the demon, the evil in me came out 100%. And, but I forgot what I was saying. Shit, I
something
forgot
on
what I
your
was saying.
mirror?
Oh, yeah, on my mirror, I have "I am safe" because I don't feel safe yet. The reason
Mm-hmm.
why I'm waking up every morning in cold sweats and shivers and stuff like that, those are pre-seizures for me, and it's my body being so traumatized. Giselle, you came in twice?
Yeah, it said she stopped recording on the other one.
Oh, yeah, it does that with ours. She already knows what to do. Okay,
Okay,
I just
good.
see 2 of her. Uh-huh. But, we need to invest in upgrading her laptop. Mhm. But now I've put in power poses. So, like, multiple times a day, I go in for 2 or 3 minutes and I stand in front of my mirror. And it is so hard to be serious about this, guys. Like, it is so hard, but maybe that's part of the trick of it is to make me feel a little bit lighter. But I go in
Yeah.
and I do my "I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe," and then "I am safe,"
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I have to do that multiple times because I do not know that I'm safe. My
yeah,
body doesn't know that it's safe because I have kept it unsafe. Not everybody else. Me.
yeah.
Me. Not everybody else, but me. And realizing that is a turning point in
Yes.
healing.
Yes. When you start to see where all you are the problem. Yeah.
It is a turning point, and I think I'm in that turning point right now because 'cause I'm starting to see that, no, there's been so much that I've been projecting and I've been refusing to see. I have been refusing to see that I have projected my entire life, my traumas.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, and that's when you start to do these things that create this narrative to push people away, to
Mhm.
just keep that barrier, because that's what I started with my husband. That was, like, the key area that I really identified. Mama still needs a lot of work, okay?
Right.
And so, I was like, I'm not hating myself for being a giant bitch, but it's not the way I wanna show up in this relationship. So, I was like, "Okay, what is the deal here?" And I had a guest on, and, anytime someone offers me something free for having them on the show, I'm like, "Yeah, I'll do that, sure." So I met with her afterwards, and, she had me talk to my 15-year-old self, and that wasn't something new to me to go back to different versions of myself, but I realized I was afraid of trust still. Like, there's this narrative that's like, "Okay, but if I give it all to him, if I show him all of it, and then he leaves me, what?" Okay, nothing. Literally nothing. Like, yeah, it would suck, but I'm enough, right? So I had to work through
Mhm.
that. But what I realized is that was the key, is I wasn't afraid of trusting him. I was afraid of trusting me, to that I could withstand the pain of being left or even him dying. That's been a huge fear throughout my entire this is my second marriage, and I was afraid, for both of them. Like, I just ever since my dad died, that really rocked me for it to be so sudden and whatever. I'm acutely aware that people die. So I've always been afraid of that. And I had to like really sit with myself and say, like, okay, so what are you afraid of? Okay. And if that happens, what? I might die. Like that. I might die. Like that would be so bad and painful.
Yeah.
And I had to be like, but you wouldn't, sis. You wouldn't. You're enough to withstand any pain that happens to you. I don't fucking want to, and I'm annoyed that I can, but like I can and I will. I'm going to be able to face anything that this world throws at me. Not anytime soon. I need universe to hear me when I say you better give me the damn break I'm asking for, but I
Right?
can, you know? I'm
Yeah.
so serious.
I said
I
that.
said, "Saturn, give me a break." Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Mhm. I hear you, girl. I hear you. You need a break.
Need a break. I do.
Yeah.
A little reprieve from the bullshit would be nice.
Mhm.
I agree. And they don't seem to let you have a break when you're in the middle of it all.
No. Although, the last week or so has felt really nice, so I'm just like, "Okay, call it whatever it is, denial, whatever, I'm good right now, like, things are good, I'm feeling good, I'm learning how to, like, find joy in different things," and something I've really been doing is, like, romanticizing the shit out of different things, like, when I'm putting on skincare, I'm like, "Listen, y'all, I've gotten into that trashy show, fucking Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, okay? And I fucking love it. I fucking love that show. I binged 3 full seasons. Yes, I did, and the reunions, okay? And a little bit of their TikToks, all right? It's the girly stuff. I'm, like, so attracted to all the, like, girlhood shit. They're putting on skincare, they're doing their hair, and I haven't been putting an ounce of effort into my appearance for a while now, ever since I started working from home, and I didn't really care, but didn't even realize because I used to, like, curl my hair every day,
Got makeup
all the
every day.
I've never worn heavy makeup, but, like, makeup every
Yeah.
day and
Mhm.
perfume and a cute bra and, whatever. So after Jake died, one of the things that I got was, like, several, and I mean several, matching pairs of cute pajamas. And that was kind of the beginning. It would make me feel comfortable, but also kind of cute, like the cute girls who wear cute shit at home. All
Mhm.
those get ready with me's when they're just wearing those really cute little things. And you're like, I wanna be cute. So I started, like, doing little shit like that and then, like, added some stuff to my skincare routine, and I'm just like, "I'm so cute putting on my skincare," and then I did my little press-ons, like, all the things, and everything I do, I've just been like, "This is so cute." Like, I'm trying not to this is the phrase that, like, I heard is quit taking yourself so fucking seriously. Not everything's a problem to be solved or a battle to be won. And I make everything some fucking life or death battle. Everything is so serious to me. I've always been that way. I'm just trying to lighten the fuck up a little bit to where it's like, what's the point in healing if you're not going to have a shit ton of fun? I just want to have fun. And so that's where I've been like the last week is just like, man, I'm going to take myself way less seriously. And then I was on someone's show the other day and she said someone taught her everything can fit into 2 boxes, either love or fear, and I really just wanna start filling up that love box
Your
as much
love
as I can,
ball.
and everything that you do is in love if it's not from fear, so me doing little cutesy bootsy things, that's love for myself, like, just
Exactly,
even
exactly.
sitting and watching Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, judge me if you must, but I
You're
fucking
allowed to
love the
do
shit
that.
out
If
of that.
that's what you wanna do, if that's what you need to do, then do it, you know? Um, like I said, we had it's amazing how our guests on our podcast change us so much. And I really that's one of the things that, like, 'cause I never see me being a podcaster. Never. Never. I was vet tech. God meant for me to take care of animals, wound care, all that stuff, animal behavior, I'm great in. Like, that's always been something that's been so natural to me. Animals talk to me. I can hear them, you know? Wound
Yeah.
care, I am a miracle worker when it comes to wound care. I really, really am. But, like, but but when that was the old me, that was the me that was on drugs, that needed to take care of something, that needed those animals for healing as much as they needed me, I needed them. I needed that was, and then when, before I even quit doing we started looking through the glass before I quit, and I wanted to show
Oh,
people
wow.
I wanted to show people, like, if you go way back in our YouTube, you'll see me being goofy, you'll see a lot of us being goofy, and that was just me trying to not be so serious about myself anymore and
Mhm.
relax a little bit and just be that old me, be that, because I've always been the type of person of, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna go laugh anyways. I'm gonna make this funny," you know? Um, there's if I can't laugh at myself, then what am I doing, you know? And, so we started looking through the glass before I quit, right before I quit, but I was in a very bad situation. And, I was just praying to God and, you know, just having that moment. I always say God and jelly rolls what helped me get sober. And I'm just pouring crying. And I heard,
Yeah.
you need to come out. You need to come out about your addiction. I went, fuck you. There's no way. I didn't hide this shit for so long to do no, fuck you. There's no way in hell I'm going
Right.
public about this. There's traumas in there in that area where people were accusing me and I wasn't using at the time, but they made situations about me with my kids and stuff like that. And I was so afraid of telling one of my kids. And I was like, if I tell him, then at that point, then he's gonna think the situation that was forced that was me, and it really wasn't me, it was a long story, but, I was so afraid that at that point he would think that I lied about it back then, and I
Yeah.
didn't, and, but Giselle always knew that this was what we were supposed to do. Giselle,
Back
That's
when
since
so
she was a
Vines was a thing.
teenager,
cool.
Back when Vines was a
Giselle
thing, I was like, "It's this is what we're supposed to be doing." Because I was like, I would see how
as a
people in their
teenager.
yeah, because I was like, my mom is funny. Our relationship is funny. We still had a good relationship while she was in active addiction while growing
Yeah.
up. Yes, we had our problems, but we still
Yes.
had a decent relationship. So I still had fun. She still made efforts to be, there. So she would do the craziest, funniest shit. Like she would just sit there
I'm
and
so
just like
random.
first she talks to herself. She just randomly starts talking to herself. And it's just like, and the shit she would say to herself, it's like, Mom, we need to start recording you. I don't want to be on the internet. No, no, that's not happening. And it's like, come
Yeah.
on, come on. Like we would crack people up. And nope, she would not. She refused.
I
Man.
ran from my purpose. I did. I ran from that purpose so hard. Like this podcasting is my purpose. 100%.
Yeah, yeah. No, I feel that hardcore. I think I told you when I was on your show that, I didn't do it for so long because I thought I needed a co-host because I didn't think I was interesting enough. And so I just kept being like trying to beg my friends, like, like, but I'm so glad because I never would have taken it to where it's gone if I had done it with a friend because we would have just stayed silly, I think. Um, even though, like, I love deep conversations, they couldn't have had the depth that I have now because I wasn't that deep. Like, I
Mhm.
was real surface, you know? I could try to fix everyone else's problems pretty well, but, like, not mine. And so,
Turn
like, I'm
turn
so
that
grateful that I
microscope
just took the
around?
leap
No
and did
way.
it. Do what?
Turn that microscope around? No way. There's way too
Yeah.
much there.
Yeah, well, shit, I didn't even realize how much I was trying to avoid that. I was
Uh-huh.
all the things I was doing to be a psychotic bitch was to avoid looking at myself.
Absolutely, I agree.
I do this all the time. I bring up the psychotic that she has in her that I seen when I was a teenager. I would come home from school and she would leave me notes. Okay? I would have done something to have pissed
Written
her
on an
off.
envelope.
Yes, yes, on an envelope. And so I would get home and she would have had torn through the envelope, going down the envelope, and it just gets bigger and bigger, and it's so fucked. The writing is so jacked that you would think it would be written in blood on the wall at that point. She repeated it over and over. You will not do this. You will get this done. It's just like I was like, what the fuck did I do? I was at
Man,
school,
I just
man.
walked in the door.
Yeah.
What the hell, mom?
I
No,
was
it
just like,
did.
this shit should be
I'm just
written in blood on
picturing
the
you
wall.
2 in the morning, like, and then another motherfucking thing. If you think for one fucking second so here's what's funny. She's gone all day and she comes home and now she's affronted with this psychotic writing. You're gone all day. You got it all out with your little psychotic note writing, and you're coming back and the shit started all over again because now she's dealing with what you wrote at like 7 a.m. And now you both are pissed at each other again because you're like, "What's your fucking problem?" And she's like, "What's your fucking problem?"
Yeah, that's what a lot of her problems came down to was that she would be pissed off about something while I'm at school, and
Yeah.
then I would
And
get
there wasn't
home.
texting then, so she couldn't be
No,
like,
no, there was no
"Giselle,
texting then. I didn't have,
oh,
well, I didn't have,
I
yeah.
got plenty of envelope writings myself. I remember the envelope very well. In fact, when my kids were little and I would be writing a note, I always did the same thing, grabbed an envelope. And I've never left them crazy notes. It would just be like, "Hey guys, remember this and I'll be back at this time," or whatever. Um I would remember reading, like, the underlining, like, the certain words are written in all caps and shit, and you're like, "I was just trying to live. I don't know where any of this hostility came from, but alright." And then you're expected to be in a good mood after you receive some, DEFCON 5 communication like that, and then they're like, "Why are you in a bad mood? You're always in a bad mood." And it's like, "Oh, well." You are too.
She would be always in a bad mood, and then she would have her moments where
I
she
was
was
too.
like, "You know what? We're going to the lake. Let's go to the lake." And then be like, she'll be in this fantastic, let's just get the fuck out of here type mood. And that's what I always loved as much. She was always spontaneous. We never had shit planned out. It was we're driving, to another town to go stay with, family for a weekend, just out of the blue. You're not going to school Friday. That's what we're gonna go
Boy,
do.
you really did have some chaos and inconsistency then, because even like, you never knew, is it gonna be good? Is it gonna be bad? And then, see, here was
Absolutely.
me. I would do the same thing because, of course, I was never gonna apologize to the children for being a bitch. That would be weird. I would just do this, like, grand gesture afterwards, and then because I had no coping skills and they were kids and couldn't always be perfect, I'd be like, "God damn it, this is why we never do shit. Right here, I'm trying to show everyone a good time, and here we are. You're being children, and this
Dare
is
you
too
be a
much."
kid?
Yes.
How dare
I
you not
literally
wear
had to
a hat?
learn, like, how to stay safe when my kids are being imperfect, because I realized, okay, when I envision this majestic experience, never, where no child complains about anything, I'm picturing their smiling faces, and so I am smiling and everything is great. Well, 5 minutes into the excursion, someone's having an issue, and I'm like, That's why I don't do it. No one's ever happy. And so I had to learn, like, do you want to do this thing that you're doing? Yes, you do. So, not for them, for you. How do you want to feel during it and stay in that energy, regardless of whether or not they act like a child or not? But for so long, I really believed that. Like, well, of course, I get psychotic. They are complaining nonstop. They fight with each other. They cry. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to act like a crazy bitch. And then I had to realize, like, no, you gotta calm down even when your kids are being okay, that's
I'm
fine.
learning this with my last one. Unfortunately, but at least I'm learning it now and
Yeah,
not too late, you know. But
exactly.
I have to go drive with my husband to go pick up a tire machine. This was amazing, Melissa, and I thank you for
Absolutely.
having this on.
Yes, and, I'll make sure I include all of your links and whatever to your show, and, I'll have you both on.
Yeah, no, we have to do this again. You need to come back on ours, like,
Yeah,
absolutely, because you know what? We can have such conversation, beautiful conversation all day long. I could talk to you forever.
me too. Well, I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for coming to Emotionally Unavailable. If you haven't already, like, subscribe, and share.
Emotionally unavailable.
All right, that's it from me. So make sure that you check out the show notes for links. And until next time, let's all just keep swimming.
INDEPE and cut.